Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is your old friend Valdestot here, talking about the poop storm that happened when Doordash released that new pay model the other day. After contemplating on that and reading all the comments, responding to every comment that commented in my channel, I've come to a conclusion that I should kind of give my personal perspective on this. So this video is going to be titled, Would it be so bad if DoorDash implemented this new pay model? Now, don't get upset just by the title, okay? It's just talking about what would happen if this actually happened, because it's not written in stone. It was just a test and it was removed after a couple of hours from what I heard, right? So this is an insight on what is going on behind the scenes of DoorDash and why they even attempted to roll out this highly controversial pay model. All right, and look, the scales of justice is what I use for the background title page, because it really is about fairness and if it's about right and wrong what DoorDash is doing. Okay, so here we go. Let's start off with the basics of the whole debacle. Anytime DoorDash does anything like changing a pay model to drivers, there are usually reasons behind it. Okay? They don't just do it for the sake of doing it, other than trying to make more money, obviously, which is the key thing, but there's usually reasons. So, one, drivers are not accepting enough offers, such as the lower pay, no tip variety, which in turn affects their bottom line profits, right? Two, they are a publicly traded company and they are beholden to their shareholders, and they have to outperform expectations or their share price will drop and they will have to answer to their shareholders. Three, negative publicity regarding their bottom line. And oh, yes, there has been a lot of negative press lately on if gig apps can actually be profitable, especially with more people dining out at restaurants nowadays, because a lot of the pandemic restrictions are being lifted, right? So instead of using these apps to get food delivered to them, right? People are dining in versus getting takeout. So example one, dated April 27th. Okay. DoorDash shakes up fees in search of profit. Okay. And just reading the headline or below it, the biggest food delivery app in the US is shaking up the fees it charges restaurants in the hope that it can push more merchants into paying it as much as 30% of each other. I'm sorry, 30% of each order. DoorDash on Tuesday announced restaurants will be able to choose from three new tiers of commission: 15%, 25%, or 30%, with different levels of service depending on whether they wanted to focus on profitability or growth. So they are doing everything they can to come up with new revenue streams, because obviously the current system is not working. Okay, here's another example. DoorDash allows restaurants to choose commissions in post-pandemic future. New tiered system is effort to appease restaurants over fees they were forced to accept during the health crisis. So pretty much, there are a lot of cities and areas where those localities felt that their residents were being price gouged. So they forced DoorDash and other gig apps to lower their fees. But of course, those fees just got passed on to the customers as a locality or pandemic tax. Okay, so it literally did nothing. The last example here is Domino's right and DoorDash wrong about food delivery. Okay, so pretty much in a nutshell, okay, these gig apps are not very profitable. They just aren't, because they use an independent contractor workforce that they can't control like their own employees would at Domino's. Okay, so with Domino's, a driver has to take any order that they are given, and they have no idea if they're going to get tipped or not. But they at least get paid a minimum wage, okay? With us, you already know we can accept and reject at will, and there's not a damn thing they can do about it because they're not paying us benefits. We have to use our own cars. We have to pay our own expenses, etc., etc. And we don't get taxed like employees do. So just by looking at these slides, you can tell it is hard making money in the food gig app industry, okay? For the life of me, though, I can't see why they literally ripped off the pizza delivery model and tweaked it to allow more restaurants for delivery and to eliminate the need for employees opting instead for their independent contractor model. Yet, how is it so difficult for DoorDash, Grubhub, and Uber Eats to turn a profit when businesses like Domino's, Papa John's, and Pizza Hut are easily doing it and have been doing it for years? I mean, common sense would think you have more restaurants to select from. You don't have to pay employees a wage. You're subsidizing our independent contractor wages with customer tips. You don't have to pay like a minimum wage or whatever, right? How can these places not be making a profit? Here's the answer. This was taken from an article that I found on Google, okay? Why DoorDash and other delivery apps struggle with profitability. And I'm not going to read this whole thing. You guys can read it, but I'm just going to basically read the headlines, right? DoorDash and Uber Eats revenues in the fourth quarter of 2020 were up 226% to reach 970 million, and Uber Eats's was 224% to reach 1.4 billion, right? But despite the growth these companies are experiencing, they are struggling to find a sustainable business model. They have never been profitable except DoorDash in the second quarter of 2020 because of the pandemic. So here's the answer. Right here around the red. You could pause it, rewind it, and read the whole article if you want, but I'm just doing this for time restraints, right? Constraints. So even without these costs, food delivery companies still have to pay drivers to deliver food, but the amount drivers are paid is often less than the delivery fees paid by consumers. But cumulative payments to drivers for deliveries historically have exceeded the cumulative delivery fees paid by the consumer. Uber wrote in its third quarter 2020 earnings release. This is largely the result of charging customers low fees for delivery. If you were to go onto the Uber Eats app right now, you'll see many cases where the delivery fee is 99 cents or $1.99. Low fees are just another tactic to gain market share. And that right there is the problem. This is a broken model. It's a broken system. All these companies are doing is fighting with one another to gain market share, and in order to do that, they have to lower the costs and undercutting each other to steal their other competitors' customers. That is all they're doing. It's not a sustainable model. So as you can see here, I'm just going to leave it up for just a second so you can pause it. I mean, even they're talking about in a nutshell that it's not going to be sustainable. And eventually, in the end, when the dust settles and there are only a few players left, the customer is going to pay the price, an increased price. Okay? And these companies, without private funding from venture capitalists, would have went bankrupt years ago. So, the only other way to increase revenue, as we already know, is to pull a page from Amazon, a literal subscription method, okay? Paying a monthly fee, constant revenue, everyone is doing it nowadays. This is nothing new. So, why are they testing a new pay model? One, because drivers are not taking enough orders for them to stay profitable. Remember, in order for them to get revenue, it all starts with completing orders. When drivers complete an order, DoorDash gains revenue from both the customer service fee and the restaurant's service fee. When orders are left unfulfilled or undelivered, DoorDash has to increase offer prices, namely on the no or low tip offers or the high distance mileage offers, thereby losing more of their money. Two, the hashtag decline now movement made a bigger impact on them than even themselves realized. If every driver declined all offers under $7, DoorDash would have to pay for it out of pocket because they are in a fierce competition to gain or keep their customer base from ordering on another platform, aka Grubhub or Uber Eats. 3. As discussed on the last story, drivers are their number one expense. And sidebar here, why do you think they're thinking about autonomous vehicles? Why do you think they're thinking about drone delivery? Because we are their biggest expense. Sure, they will have to pay billions or trillions of dollars in getting set up for their initial infrastructure of getting their fleet of vehicles or drones or whatever, right? And the liability insurance on each of those vehicles is going to be astronomical, because who's to say that those autonomous vehicles doesn't kill someone accidentally? All right, off the sidebar. We keep saying, right, that if all gig apps would simply increase the cost of delivery, they would be able to increase driver pay. We've all said that. Hell, I've said that. This only works if all the platforms would adopt that strategy to stop undercutting themselves. Can we say for certain that one company wouldn't and capitalize on the exodus of customers from the ones that do increase the prices? DoorDash. Corporations, you know, look, corporations are literal hyenas, okay? They are. It's a dog eat dog world, and they're going to do everything they can to be number one. We've seen it time and time again, not just on gig apps, but any business. They are literal hyenas and will undercut each other for the sake of profits. There's an old saying in the profit world: profits over people, period. That is a saying because that's all they care about. Profits, and in order to achieve it more and more and more. In the gig apps case, delivering more orders than the next guy. So how will this play out? Not well, unfortunately. Look, there's no easy answer here. Their entire business model is flawed to begin with. Utilizing an independent contractor workforce has major advantages, but it also has major disadvantages too. The biggest one, they can't force us to do anything we don't want to do. They can't force us to accept an offer because that'd be illegal. One, being that we can accept and decline all offers without penalty, we are not employees. Two, we as independent contractors need to have three key pieces of information in order to determine if an offer is worth taking or not. So those three key pieces of information: exact customer location, total distance; two, total pay for the work offered; three, total time for the work from start to finish. And I don't mean to sidebar this again, but hiding the tips, the customer tips, and only showing the base pay is complete nonsense. And here's why. They will come up with the argument that, well, pizza places do it all the time. Now, that used to work in the old world where there were no credit card or automatic processing and all that. In the old world where everything was paid for in cash, most people tipped in cash after the drop-off. I was one of them. I'm almost 50 years old. I used to pay a tip in cash before. But now with technology, especially with DoorDash's system, customers can tip before they place their order. How many people, what percentage of people do you think tip after the delivery is ordered, and which would cause them to go back to the app, and put a tip or more of a tip down. Less than 1%, I'll guarantee you that right now. Customers want to know what they are paying in total before they place the order. If a customer did not tip, they're old school like me and they're thinking that I'll just pay, the tip in cash. But unfortunately, with this flawed system, we as drivers, the majority of us cannot risk taking that gamble for a cash tip, especially on high distance offers. It just won't work. So, as I said before, the problem is that if they provide complete transparency, there will be a disproportionate amount of offers that will either be accepted or rejected, namely the high-paying and low-paying offers. This is the cherry-picking problem that all gig apps have to deal with. But if you start hiding these key pieces of information, legal issues can start popping up, or driver dissent will start occurring. So you're going to lose drivers left and right. And good luck retaining new drivers once they find out a system like this is what they're using when they only see $3 payouts going 10 miles. Yeah, they're going to quit really quick. Kind of like what is happening now after all those test offers that started to pop up around the country for a few hours. Dissent started happening. I just provided the information. I didn't make this up. There are some commenters on there that are basically popping off and trolling, saying that, you guys don't, I'm not going to name this person, but you can read in the comments. They were literally saying that we all should know better. He basically said he just, rejects all the time, but why should we have to go through that? If everyone rejects, who ends up losing? We all do, namely the customer and all of us, and we're just wasting time not making any money on an offer we wouldn't take anyway. So these gig apps brought this on themselves, thinking that going the independent contractor route was a way to increase profits. In reality, it has done the exact opposite. My personal opinion is that the test pay model will be scrapped. There are just too many complaints, not just from a driver perspective, but also from customers as well. There were a few comments from customers that said that they use high tips to entice drivers to get their order to them faster. If DoorDash hides the tips, customers are going to be grouped into a situation where they're lumped in with a whole bunch of unknown tippers, whether it's low or high. Remember the old video I had a few weeks ago, what the definition of tips was? Tips ensure prompt service. TIPS, that's the acronym, or another acronym is to ensure prompt service. So customers that are gracious enough to pay us more will get better service. And DoorDash, by their own stupid test offers, are eliminating the customers to offer that ability. And by hiding on the hybrid pay, where we've seen recently, any amount offer has the potential to have a higher payout at the end. Why? Because they're hiding it from the get-go. 99% of the customers already pre-tip. So DoorDash knows very damn well what they're doing. They're doing it to increase order deliveries so that they can get their service fees. But it's just pissing customers and drivers alike off. So too many of these deliveries will not be delivered due to the increased need to reject $3 gamble offers. Here are my solutions. Increase base pay to $4 and start adding a long distance fee of $1 a mile. At the minimum, $1 a mile. But this is just to start off the conversation with DoorDash or within the driver community. If customers want to order from restaurants over 5 miles away, use Google Maps or Uber Maps to calculate distances that restaurants would be from customer locations to give to customers. So when they look at a restaurant, oh, this place might be good. Oh, it's 12 miles away from me. Oh, and there's an added expense of ordering so that it can go to the driver. Well, that makes sense. I mean, if they phrase it in such a way like that, right? DoorDash, Grubhub, Uber Eats, whoever can phrase anything to make it sound more attractive. You know, like the old saying, lipstick on a pig. So if a customer realizes, oh, this restaurant is like 20 miles away from, from me, they'll think twice about ordering it, or they will pony up the extra money if they really want it. Okay? So no more $3 offers going 10 plus miles. This is just going to piss off drivers having to constantly reject orders and customers getting pissed off from constantly waiting for an order that never arrives. It's a day in, day out familiar situation that all drivers and customers constantly deal with, period. My second solution, include a minimum 20% gratuity on all Walmart offers. Period. Don't have the ability to slide it down to 0%. If you want a Walmart offer, you have to pay 20%. It may change with the Spark platform now. I mean, DoorDash may not do it as much, hopefully. I'm crossing my fingers, right? But if we do it, they want to pay. They want to play this game, they got to pay it, right? If customers want package delivery service, pay us like USPS, UPS, FedEx drivers to lug those heavy-ass packages or bags to wherever the hell they are. I mean, it's only fair, right? But remember, they're not being fair. They just want orders delivered and completed offers so they can get their service fees. 3, institute a hybrid independent contractor employee solution to take offers that no other independent contractor driver will take. For example, in every city, maintain the option of having 10 drivers or more, depending on the volume load, right? Being contracted to get a $15 to $25 per hour, depending on the location's cost of living, using a fleet rental car paid by DoorDash to take any offer that no one else wants. These drivers are paid a contracted hourly rate regardless of distance or wait times. Remember, they're still independent contractors, but you're contracted to do this job. So they can pay you this hourly rate without being an employee. That's why it's a hybrid solution. These are drivers that could care less about how low the offers are because they're getting the use of a company vehicle exclusive for DoorDash for a discounted fleet rate, right? They'll get a kickback and lower rates by allowing their drivers, kind of like what Uber kind of did, but it's a hybrid way of doing it, right? They'll be fitting the bill, DoorDash will, but at a discounted rate. So if we would have had to pay ourselves $50 for a day to rent a car, it'll be like $25 a day for DoorDash from any rental company that they use a contract agreement with. Lastly, here's the biggie for us drivers. Finally, give drivers the option of setting mileage and pay restrictions within the DoorDash app itself for the areas they specifically want to work in. This will increase the amount of accepted offers because no matter what DoorDash tries to do, even with this new godforsaken potential pay model, which I hope never comes out, drivers will ultimately decide on what offers to take and how many miles they want to drive. I called for a slider system in previous videos to set up a mileage and pay, right? So in a slider system, you can slide to under 5 miles, slide to under 10 miles, slide to unlimited miles, slide to under 5, under 10, or over $10. If the driver chooses the lowest options, they will be given the lowest miles and payouts. So if you choose the lowest options, get ready to get lower payouts. But in turn, you're going to get lower mileage offers. Okay? The fact is, My Solutions gives the independent contractor drivers the choice to decide what offers to accept or reject without the need for third-party delivery apps like the Doordash driver's utility helper or other apps that have the need to be security intrusive on your phone in order for the app to be able to work as intended. Personally, I believe in the driver's utility helper or any of them out there, but I have a lot of secure apps like financial apps on my phone. And I don't feel too keen, me personally, opening up Pandora's box for one of these companies to get hacked and have the ability to have access to my phone. I believe in what they're doing, and I hope that if you do, check them out, try them out, support them. That's all good. And I want smaller companies to succeed. I'm not bashing them in any way. All I'm saying is from my standpoint, it's a security risk, and I just don't feel comfortable putting that on my phone. So DoorDash or any other gig app would save time and grief to get orders to customers quicker and more efficiently. Isn't that the whole point here? To get orders to customers quicker and more efficiently. Customers to get their orders faster, which in turn makes them happier, and in turn will order more food from DoorDash in the future. Isn't that the goal here? Customer loyalty. But you already know my answer. Instead, they all just think about short-term profits for their shareholders and doing anything they can to force drivers to take the lowball offers that no one will take. They don't give a damn about us. They just want to take the easy way out and use their draconian method of, using that guy's comment from my last video. If you don't like it, quit. Stop bitching and complaining. All you're doing is literally, griping and complaining on here, yada, 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 yada. Yeah, and my response to that is if we don't do something, it's just going to continue to get worse. And then who wins? Smart guy? You? Yeah, thought so. So anyway, in the end, what do you all think? Leave a comment below and share your thoughts. Leave a like and subscribe to help the channel give back to the community because, again, once I get to over 1,000 subscribers, 100% minus taxes is going to go back to you all anyway. And in one way, like this next one, look out for the public subscriber weekly cash drawings on every Monday to reward people who support my channel. Just become a public subscriber, share one comment on any video in that week, and you're automatically entered. It's currently at $10 and I'm using my own money, $10 a week. It may not sound like much, but hey, it's a little bit of gas money or lunch, on me, right? But once I get monetized, I will be increasing that number. Believe you me, okay? I promise I will increase those numbers. So have a great day or evening all, and take care of yourselves. Don't get used, okay? Have a great day. Talk to y'all later.